Welcome to the training of inner child repressed emotions that are stored in your body. The exercise portion of the Fat Life is very, very simple. I need you to work out just 1 day a week, corrective bodybuilding just 1 day a week. This is going to trigger the manifestation laws of the universe because you are following through with your thoughts and feelings. You can work out more than 1 day a week, absolutely. You are not going to get a HIIT or a heavy strength training workout from me. I'm not going to ask you to do cardio. I want you to do corrective bodybuilding because that over time really builds a really strong and beautiful physique. It's like you're going to age like a fine wine when you do the corrective bodybuilding. It's going to give you time to get into your body because you have to visualize the muscle. You have to visualize what the outcome of it is. You have to visualize and sense the extension and the contraction of the muscle, and then really filling it with blood for that pump so that you can create the shape. The corrective bodybuilding helps you get in touch with your body because we're using these muscles and the fulcrums of your joints as they are designed, and it's going to help you with your alignment, which is the second habit. The alignment exercises, I need you to do them every single day, at least for 6 months. We want to align your body. Our lifestyle with an L-shaped desk and seated and hunched over on our phone. The big main fulcrums of our body, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles, they're not really at full capacity because of our sedentary lifestyle. And then when those structures aren't in order, then we have a lot of diagonal muscles that aren't really able to function as they should. So the alignment exercises are going to get your body foundationally strong. And again, it's also going to give you time to get in your body. Now, there's energetic points in your body parts at the joints, kind of everywhere, but a lot at the joints. And so when you are in your body with the alignment exercises specifically, you may really find some intuition because you're so focused on that area of the body. So again, your habits are just at least 1 day a week of corrective bodybuilding and then daily alignment exercises. And then of course, you'll see all of the videos that you can choose for your goals and specific body parts that might need a little extra care, attention, and love in other videos. Like I said in the eating video, the only way that you're going to adhere to these habits is if you reduce the energetic resistance. Now, again, I'm going to be referring to these as fear emotions or inner child emotions, and the protective mindsets that go along with fear, the fear of success and the fear of failure, as well as the adaptive mindsets of the inner child that's just trying her best to be perfect to make sure that she is loved and accepted and has a sense of connection with her caregivers. The first thing that we're going to take a look at is your exercise style slash the body function, and then the energetic pattern that goes along with it. If you're sedentary, there is most likely low self-worth and confidence because you're not prioritizing self-care. If you had just kind of like a baseline of self-worth and self-confidence, you would be putting yourself first, or at least second if you're a parent, right? If you have sicknesses, if you have a lot of pain, if you have flares, if you have headaches, the body is creating these physical problems to distract you from negative emotions. Now, I don't want to go into like all of the details, but if you're here, you probably know that I had cervical disc injuries, and I learned from Dr. John Sarno about the primitive inner child, the baby inner child emotions that manifest in chronic illnesses or pain. We'll get into some deeper trainings about that, and especially when we have our group call, whether you're in the group program where we're meeting on Fridays, whether you're in a private container and you have me in Telegram and your own private calls and the Friday calls if you want to come to it. We'll talk about this on other calls. So this is just going to be an overview. But if you have sickness, if you have pain, if you have flares and headaches, your body is actually creating this problem to distract you from the emotional problems, because it's really much easier to just like pop a pill than it is to journal and feel and process and integrate. So the body will always present problems for you if you're under stress or if you are about to approach a new identity, and those old emotions are going to want to keep you who you were. And a lot of times we'll see that you'll get sickness, pain, flares, or headaches when you decide, because that's already changing your mind body identity, or when you hit a milestone, you'll see these things come up for you. Working your ass off and not getting results. This comes from the mindset that says doing what you're supposed to do. This showed up for me in the form of kettlebells. So when I in part of my career, when I was learning heavy strength training and I did 2 powerlifting competitions, the community that I was in, one of the people said, "You need to be able to come back from an injury and you should always be 6 months ahead in strength than your clients." And I really lived by that. And another thing that had happened was kettlebells in my community kind of like came in, and it was like a big popular thing, and everybody wanted to do kettlebells now. And I started working with kettlebells, yes, because there is a benefit to them, but also knowing what I know now and the ideal, my dream body fantasy, the kettlebells weren't actually going to get me there. But I still chose to work with them because I felt like I had to as a fitness professional. And now I don't touch them because I'm like, yeah, they're cool, but I know how my body is. That's a potential injury if I'm not being 100% focused, slash, it ain't going to get me the body that I want. And I don't want to waste my time doing anything that's not going to get me the body that I want. So if you're working your ass off and you're not getting results, it's probably because you're doing what you think you're supposed to do, but that's not actually accurate or correct for your body or the goal. You might be working your ass off until you get exhausted or injured. And this is the perfectionist mindset, from anxiety to be good or distracting yourself from feelings. So again, P.S. Everything but the sedentary is what I have experienced. And if we're working really hard and we only stop when we're injured or when we get sick or exhausted, it's because that perfectionist overachieving is just driving us into the ground. And when I was like really scaling back from this, I had to do a checklist of like, you already lifted weights today. You already did your walk today. You are not allowed to do anything else, because a lot of times exercise was an outlet for me to not feel my emotions. And so you may see yourself in that you'll be on a roll, go, 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 go. And then you can't for 3 months because you got hurt or you're just so exhausted, you can't pick yourself back up again. You have to take a really long break. And then there is working out based on needs first, then refining that body part to go from fit to polished. So this is where the energy becomes the body that ages like a fine wine, and it's adaptable to changes like pregnancy and postpartum athleticism. So when you work on what your body needs, you're going to automatically know what your body needs because you're doing the alignment videos every single day. There's a couple of videos. You can do all of them for the upper body, lower body, and the deep core, or you can break them up. But when you're doing the alignment videos, you have time to sense your body. So then you find out what you actually need. And then hint, hint, what most of our bodies actually need is strong hips, strong shoulders, and a strong core. And guess what happens when you strengthen them? You get really hot. It just defines those muscle groups in a really beautiful way. So you're going to take a survey again. You'll see it on the next page. And when we are doing this work for the body, we're able to see the body as the mirror of the fear feelings and their protective mindsets, and the inner child's projections, her mindsets about how she thinks she's bad, wrong, not good enough, too much, should be, or shouldn't be. What that means is how we are perceiving our body and our worth because of our body. That is the inner child feelings. What we do with it, how it manifests. I really want you to grasp this, that the body is the mirror for the projections. So if all the inner work that you've done, you've probably studied the inner child and attachment theory, we project. right? We project our worst fears onto other people. We sabotage relationships. We act out unconsciously as the inner child projection. We don't know the damage that we're causing until it's too late, until something ruptures or someone tells us what we did that was so hurtful. So if you can see your body reflection, how you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror, or if you look down, or like how you feel in your clothes as the projection of your feelings, and then how it's manifesting, right? Because it's storing the energy, and how you are exercising it and those outcomes as the projected mindsets, as the protective mechanisms, where we will, when you really grasp that, we're really going to be able to take you far in this container, because these are the repressed emotions. These are the ones that we don't identify by name. We only experience them. And so this is a very key factor in the fat life, because when you're dealing with sickness, pain, flares, chronic headaches, or you're spinning your wheels, you're not getting any results, that's energetic of how the emotion is wreaking havoc on your body. And so this might feel really abstract, but I promise you, this is more concrete and tangible than like not doing it. Do you know what I mean? Because we're going to purposely be guided to see what the possibilities of these feelings and mindsets are through what you're going to do on the next page. This is another Google form that you're going to be using, just like you did for the food. And it's going to make a spreadsheet for me so that I will have it all organized. You can go to bit.ly/thoughts, feelings, body, or you can go to the training of this classroom. It's going to be the next link that you'll click on, and then it'll take you right to it. But again, you have that bit.ly link. So when you get to the form, you're going to see that you have your email and your first and last name. You're going to click the exercise style / the body function, and you'll use check boxes for this. And so just select all that apply if more than one is happening for you. Now, the other 4 fields are very important. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break down, or like we're going to pull up these repressed emotions. We're going to break down these protective mindsets by looking at the body parts that are dysfunctional, in pain, or illness. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your Google, whatever. If you have metaphysical books like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Body. That's awesome too. But Google in the metaphysical meaning of shoulder pain, the spiritual meaning of shoulder pain. And you may get different kind of descriptions based on the sentence that you put into Google. I mean, you could even use Chat GPT. Do it a couple of times until you get something to where you're like, that actually makes sense. That actually reminds me of. Because what we're doing is we're really looking at what is in the unconscious. So if you can see on paper, on your phone, of like, oh my gosh, this is what it represents. Does that resonate? Is there anything that feels like familiar? What you're going to do is write in all of the answers. That's a paragraph form. So you can write them out on a Word document or something, or on your notes as you're living your life. I would suggest you can do this one at any time. The food, we're kind of taking a week to observe and then put in a summary. This one you can do whenever you're ready. The sooner the better, so I can help you with it. And then you're also going to make another entry for how they make you feel. You're also going to list for the same thing, for the dysfunctional body parts that are in pain or illness, how they make you feel. So we'll do the metaphysical work to give us an idea of what's happening in the unconscious, the unidentifiable. But now when you're reflecting on how your body isn't at optimum, if it's not performing well, how does that actually make you feel? Do you feel incapable? Do you feel defeated? Do you feel like nothing's going to work out for you? Do you feel like you're never going to be able to get in shape? My cervical disc injuries, this happened. Chiron is in Taurus for me, so I like to do personal development, right? So it makes sense that this was a very short window of time that I felt defeated, but I want to share with you what it was like. So when I had just gotten my MRI, I was on round the clock pain relievers, and I was at the bottom of the condo stairs. We had a condo, garage was downstairs, kitchen and living room, and then the upstairs was all the bedrooms. So I was at the bottom of the staircase and I was thinking to myself, like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to be in fitness anymore. I'm not going to be able to have an active lifestyle. I'm going to have to go on disability because I'm not going to be able to work. And then I'm like walking up the stairs. And as I'm saying all of this in my head of like what I'm going to need to accept, disability, no more work, no more exercise. I'm going to get overweight because I'm not going to be able to exercise. And if I have this skinny little spine that is vulnerable with disc injuries and I get bigger and bigger and bigger, how is that actually going to make me feel worse? Because there's so much tissue spread out and kind of like on a high wire, and like a really thin line of the spine compared to how much tissue I would have. And it would be like a miscalculated Jenga tower. And I just had this image in my head that I was going to get worse. And by the time I got up to the staircase, I said, nope, that's not what's happening. The worst thing I could do is get sedentary. I have to figure out how to strengthen my body so that I can restore this part of my body. But that was a very short window. Like I said, from the bottom of the stairs, I was feeling defeated. The more I was in acceptance of what my life was going to be and the potential of how that was worse than where I was now, that was no longer an option. So really think about and feel into how it is that you're feeling about any of your body parts that aren't functioning properly. Then we're going to move on to the body parts that you dislike. So if you don't like your arm jiggling, if you don't like the cellulite on your thighs or on your butt or on your stomach, look that stuff up. What's the spiritual meaning of cellulite? What's the metaphysical meaning of fat? Like, look it up. You're going to be so surprised of what you see. And when you, again, when you read these searches, the answers to your questions, take your time finding the one that really resonates and the one that makes you feel a certain type of way of like, that makes sense. I don't know why yet, but that makes sense. Or it may even trigger a memory. And then the same thing that you're going to do to write down how the body parts make you feel. So if you feel like nobody's going to think you're sexy because you have a couple of fat rolls, okay, well, write that down. And then like side note, beauty is cultural. There are, I remember when I did this a while ago, one of my aunts was a diplomat and she had bulimia her whole life. And when she stopped bulimia, she became overweight. Then she moved to Senegal and she said, you're not going to believe this. My body is the ideal. And she's like, all this time I was just living in the wrong country. So beauty is subjective. And so this is a really amazing opportunity for us to see what's actually going on with our inner child / fear adaptive mindsets, the protective mindsets that we're projecting onto these body parts.